Good morning, everybody. I want to take you with me once again for one of my daily exercises to practice my basic flying skills, which include stick and rudder, so the manipulation of flight controls, and to steer around the aircraft axis and power. That's stick and rudder flying skills, solely with the reference of instrumentation. That's instrument flying. Executing an IFR procedure, that's IFR skills. So these are three separate skills combined in this one exercise. The key of this practice is to not use any automatics, because in the moment we use automatics, is them doing the things and not us. So the only way we can ever practice, train, well, actually, let's start from the beginning. Experience, train, or practice any of these skills is when we do it ourselves. Okay, so that's obvious, but I had to just make the statement. So we are in one airport, in one runway, and it doesn't really matter. I usually choose random airport that have interesting procedures. Now we are here, let me block my head tracking system, in Vigo, Spain. The runway is 19, so we are here lined up on runway 19er. The airplane symbol is showing now just to show you where we are, but I want to get rid of it now. Of course, another thing that we don't want is any instrument telling us where we are. We need to build our mental position, situation awareness only by looking at our instrumentation and not having a navigation display telling us where we are. And for that reason, of course, my navigation display is in HSI mode. So no automatics, no help from autopilot, flight director, auto throttle, navigation display, nothing. Okay, so we are here with takeoff heading south pretty much, and then we're gonna turn eastbound to whatever heading. And since this point is at 18 miles, I want to be at least, say, 30-35 miles out before I turn inbound, so to gain some distance from this Burmy point. So we will establish on the 277 course inbound to Vigo VOR, which is set on nav 2. At 10 miles, we're going to turn right and enter this anti-clockwise or counterclockwise 8 DME arc with the minimum of 3,600 feet. Here is 6,500, here is 3,600, passing the leading radial 044. Well, actually, 6,500, 5,000, passing the leading radial 044, the minimum becomes 3,600, and passing 029, that's the leading radial, where we can turn inbound to establish on the localizer. And here we can see initially is 3,900. Actually, it's 3,600, sorry, that's 11 miles. We are within the 11 miles. No, actually, we are outside the 11 miles. So 3,600, turning bound. When we pass the 11-mile mark, we can descend to 3,400, and at 7.7 from the ILS, which is Victor India Golf, we should be on the glide. That's the final approach fix. To go down to a minimum of 1125, actually. So talking about minima, that's radio. We don't want radio. We want Barrow 1125. There it is. That's the minima set. Okay, 1125. The visibility required is 1,200 meters. The go around, which we will execute, absolutely, I always do, is to, what does it say here? Yeah, there it is. Climb or runway heading to 1,300. So runway heading 2,300, not before 5.6 Victor Golf Oscar, which is the VOR. Onto 160 to intercept and follow radio 188. So 1,300, 6.5 DMA, left 160, establish on the 188 to distance 16, and then turn right, establish onto this 18 DME arc. Whoa, that's fantastic. All the way to Point Pivon, which happened to be at distance 11.2 at 5,000. So the go around altitude is 5,000. Wow, we're gonna do all this. This is amazing. There's such a long arc at 18 miles. Well, that's amazing. Okay, so the go around is done only with the VOR, right? Cool. So the MSA is everywhere lower than 10,000. So initially we climbed to 10,000. We're going to be safe. What we want to know is what altitude to fly over Birme in order to make it a continuous descent. So the real question is how many DME are, how many miles are from 097 to 194? How long is this arc? So that's actually 194 is 014, say 017, that's 80 something degrees. Let's say 84. So we make 84 times 8 divided 60. That's 11.2 miles. Say 11 miles. 11 miles plus, that's 8, is written here, 8 miles. So that's 19, say 20, plus 2 here. No, that's actually, yeah, plus 2, so 22, 24, add 2 miles here and 2 miles there, 24, plus 11, 35. So 35 miles. In fact, I want to keep it 24. 24 times 3 is 60, 7,200, say 7,000 feet. So 7,000 feet above 3,600, 10,600. So I would say if I cross Birme at 10,000 and start descending in a 3-degree glide, I'm gonna be okay. So my answer is 10,000 feet. Provided here I'm already, say, 210 knots or something. We don't have any speed limitation here, so that should be okay. Okay, so 10,000 is my answer over Birme. So we're going to climb and keep 10,000 until Birme, which is at 18 miles from the VOR. And then we start descent and see how it works. Okay, in real life I would also calculate my altitude at every 10 degrees, but I just want to test. And it's okay during training to make mistakes, so I just want to test my calculation, 10,000 over Birme, and see how it goes. Okay, so that's our plan. All we have to do is take off and then fly east. There is just one thing that I want to do. Stand by. Okay, we have flaps 5. We got the trim in green band. I didn't set any speed because I don't want them. Altitude selector, we're not going to touch it. It's going to be at 10,000 all the time. Heading selector, we're not going to touch it. It's going to be at 194. Speed, we're not going to touch it. It's going to be 230, later 250 all the way. No flight director, no autopilot, no auto throttle ever. And we are ready to go. So yeah, that's it. Okay, brakes on. Engine stable. Engine at 90+%. Good spin vector, good speed.
80 knots.
Checked. $130. We're gonna rotate here.
Positive rate.
Gear up.
Gear up.
I'm gonna kill the trend vector.
400.
And now I'm going to focus on my
1000.
instruments. I'm gonna lock my view, stabilize it. Now all I want to do is to fly the heading flaps 1,
Flaps 1 set.
flaps up,
Flaps up.
accelerate, and climb. It's a bit bumpy. Now that's that rate is excessive, so I'm gonna set to 50 and leave it there, and then I'm gonna manage my thrust. So to have 250 and a rate of climb of, let's say, 2000 feet a minute. Okay, good stuff. So I said I was gonna go heading east, so let's go heading 100. Okay, the pitch that gives me no acceleration is about 7 degrees. Now here is where the exercise begins. I want to keep 25 degrees on bank angle, 250 knots. I'm climbing roughly at 2000 feet a minute. That's okay. If I don't like it, I can reduce the thrust, but as an average, it's okay. So now I'm monitoring this bank angle, the speed, the pitch, the bank, the rate of climb, all together. And that's my heading. 090 heading east, that's fine. See if I need to better trim this aircraft. Aileron wise, pitch wise. Okay. So, as always, is altitude plus or minus 100 feet, heading plus or minus 10 degrees, speed plus or minus 10 knots. That's 1000 feet to level off. I can reduce my rate of climb slightly to make it more manageable. It's important to have no crazy parameters. Alright. And to be in a position where we can let go and aircraft would be stable. Now it's a bit bumpy, but if I let go now, just now, I'm not touching the controls. The aircraft is not doing anything crazy. So basically, I like it the way it is. Okay, we're coming up to 10,000. Start leveling off and reducing thrust. That's it. Now what pitch is gonna give me? Yeah, that's say almost 1.5 degrees. Okay, so we can begin our exercise by going to capture the 277 radial inbound, course inbound, sorry. 277 course inbound. Let's go. We need to capture the 277 course inbound. It has to be captured by 18 miles. Now we are at 29 miles, so basically we have 11 miles to do it. Now we're at 290, so we have 13 radials to go. 10 miles. Good shape. So ground speed is 290, so the rate of descent will have to be 1,450 after the point Burme. Still very bumpy. I did add turbulence in order to make things more complicated. I don't want the aircraft to be too stable. Alright. Time to close in the course 277. It's 280 now, so only 3 radials to go. If anything, I might be a little late. Okay. And roll out. I would say it's perfect, 277. Now the course inbound is 194. We need to set that here. (194). Back to business. Two miles to go before being at Burme. And now we go into approach mode, which we already are. Perfect. 1 mile to go. Now chop the power. We want to 10. We start descending. 18 miles now. Until, I believe, 10 miles. 10 miles. And then we turn inbound for the arc DME. That's way too much rate of descent. We really want 500 feet a minute. That's it. Radial is still perfect, 277. Rate of descent is good. So the minima here was 6,500. So we don't want to be below 6,500 before the 10 miles mark. Yep, 6,500, that's confirmed. Alright, here comes the 210. I can actually put the speed marker there just so that to make it look better. Right, 210. Now we can resume our 1,400 rate of descent. I think 1,000 will be good enough. The radial, the course inbound is still perfect. 1 mile to go. Point 8, 0.5. Right, let's turn and put the bearing pointer abeam. We want an arc DME of 8 miles. We're 9 now. Eight 8.7. Okay, I'm gonna go straight a little bit. Eight 8.5. So here 8.4, here the minima is 5,000 feet, and passing 044 will become 3,600. 8.3, we're officially inside the arc. .1, now we want to really put it abeam. .1, that's the localizer alive. For a moment, ILS-1 Victor India Golf is identified. 8.1, which is absolutely fine. Sanding. Flaps 1.
Flaps 1 set.
.600, passing 044, we're passing 040 now, so 3,600, 8.0 miles. So the next will be 029, leading radial 029. That's it, so 029 has passed. So we're turning bound. That's the glide slope. Not bad, actually. Not bad. Look at that. That's pretty good, actually. That's a localizer. Perfect. It did work out just fine. All right. Flaps 5.
Flaps 5 set.
All right, we're on the glide. Let's set the ground altitude.
2,500.
Gear down.
Gear down.
Flap 15.
Flaps 15 set.
Flaps 25.
Flaps 25 set.
Flaps 30.
Flaps 30 set.
Good. Let's stabilize before 1,000 feet. Still have time to make it perfect. The wind is changing, so it makes it a little harder. Before landing, flow. Before landing, flow. Landing checklist.
Start switches, continuous, recall. Checked. Speed brakes. Armed green light, landing gear.
Down 3 green.
Flaps.
30, green light.
Landing lights, on. Landing checklist completed.
Okay, let's have a look outside. That will be the runway. Continue. Go around. Flaps 5.
Flaps 5 set.
Gear up.
Gear up.
Disregard. So the go around is 6.5 miles. Now it's 5.3. Got above 1,000. Flaps 1.
Flaps 1 set.
Here we go left, intercept the 160. Flaps up. (160) to intercept. We will see what. Okay, that's 160. After takeoff, flow.
After takeoff completed.
Intercept the 188. And that's it. 188 coming up and 5,000 feet. Perfect. Let's bring it to 188. Flaps up.
Flaps up.
Whoa. Almost busted the altitude. I think the arc is 16 miles for 18. 16 for 18. Okay, 188 is there. 2 miles to go. Okay, 5,000. 188. 220. .188 is perfect, 5,000 is perfect, speed is perfect. 16 miles. Now we establish on the 18 miles arc. .2, so we are just outside the arc. Can manage not to get 18.3. 18.3 is still okay. And let's get back to 18.3 of a mile. Is still within the arc, so we are now within the arc again. I mean, we were also before, because 18.3 you're officially still in the arc. 18.1, let's bring it a beam. .1, good stuff. So we are perfect. Let's see up until when. 18.0, that is even better. Until all the way 008. Wow, that is the longest arc I've ever seen in my life. But what we're gonna do, instead of getting to the hold, we're gonna get back to the ILS and land. How about that? .1. So let's slow down now. 180 knots. Whoa, that's way too much. It's actually very easy to lose it. 18.0. Let's fly straight now. And that's 8080 is there. So we're gonna turn inbound. Oops, sorry. We're gonna turn inbound. We're gonna keep 5,000. Now we fly the radial. Flaps 1.
Flaps 1 set.
Until the localizer becomes alive. We're just too far, probably 22 miles. It's okay. That's it. Now we just fly the course inbound. There is the localizer. Now we can get to 3,600, but I'm not gonna do it. We're 20 miles out, so we're gonna be 6,700, and we are 5,000. We're 1,700 feet below. I'm just going to get back to this localizer as quickly as possible. Here it is. And that's it. On the localizer, just waiting for the glide. Okay, I'm gonna go down to 3,600 now. 3,900 actually. Whoa, look at that localizer, you see? You get distracted just 1 second and you get screwed. That's the glide. Perfect. I'm gonna keep a rate of descent of 500 feet a minute. Right there. Good stuff. That's it. If I can stabilize this ADI and consequently the rate of descent, my aim is to try and not level off. Light is coming up. Flaps 5.
Flaps 5 set.
Okay, we're on the glide officially and on the lock officially. Sounds good. Okay, from now on the game is to keep things tidy.
2,500.
Let's try this way. Now set the government altitude. That's it. Gear down.
Gear down.
Flaps 20. Flaps 20. Flaps 15.
Flaps 15 set.
Right. Flaps 30.
2500.
Flaps 30 set.
Landing checklist.
Start switches, continuous, recall. Checked. Speed brakes. Armed green light, landing gear.
Down 3 green.
Flaps.
30 green light.
Landing lights, on. Landing checklist completed.
Okay. Fully stable by 1,000 feet. It's a bit bumpy, so it's not easy. Telling you. Okay.
Approaching minimums.
Okay, looking up. That's the runway.
Minimum.
Land.
500, 400, 300, 200, 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
$80.
And we got a touchdown. Navigate here to the right. After landing flow.
After landing flow. Completed.
Start auxiliary power unit.
APU started.
Taxi light.
Taxi light off.
Okay, that's the parking brake set. And we have the APU, we put it online. And take the packs off. That's that. And shut down. Okay, nothing else is required except seatbelts off. And the rest, but we don't care. So that concludes our exercise. Let's see the feedback from the map. Let's see what we have done. So we took off heading east. We intercepted the 244. What was it? 244 course inbound. In fact, what we can do, can overlap these situations here. Shall we do that? And that's it. Okay, right. 277. Sorry, that was the 277 at 10 miles. Arc DME 8. And then we shot the ILS. That's the go around. So 6.5 miles left, 160 to intercept the 188. Oops. The 188, you can see it there until 16 miles. And then we turn right to fly the very long 18 arc DME all the way to 008. A little overshoot there, a little wobbly there, doesn't matter. And to come down and land on this ILS. And when we looked up for the first time, the runway was right there, to red, to white. The turbulence that I inserted in this exercise made it a lot more difficult, to be honest, a lot more difficult. But I guess my feeling is that the goal to stay 90% of the time, because that is my goal, within 100 feet, within 10 degrees, within 10 knots, was achieved at all times. And the arc within 0.3 of a mile and of the arc, that was achieved at all time. Didn't bust the minima. When we look up, we were too red and too white. There was nothing extreme that was done. No bank angle, no sink rate, nothing. So I'm pleased with the exercise. This is what I do every day, not every day, but often, in order to keep my skills sharp. And this is what I always, and I will never stop telling everybody, real and virtual pilot, this is what you have to do in order to have your skills available when you need them, in order to look at the mirror and call yourself a pilot. Pushing buttons means absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. The same is the metaphor I use. You want to be a chef, or you want to be a random bloke that put a frozen meal in a microwave and push a button. Is it the same thing to you, being a world-renowned 4-star chef, and be somebody that's scratching his butt early in the morning, stick something in the microwave and push a button? Is that the same thing? Because if it is, then okay, we're just not on the same page, we're not in the same frequency, we're not in the same universe. And maybe to you, being a pilot, virtual or real, it's fulfilled by programming a computer, pushing some buttons, following some magenta line, or watching actually the aircraft following the magenta line with autopilot, autothrottle and flight director. To me, that is nothing. It's something else. I'm not saying it doesn't require knowledge and skills. It does, for sure. But it has nothing to do with being a pilot. Being a pilot is all about flying the aircraft in all the aspects of actually flying the aircraft yourself. So, I hope you enjoyed this. I know it was lengthy, at times boring, but it is what I do very often. I enjoyed it very much, and I find it extremely, extremely helpful. So, that's it for today, folks. You can put a like in the video if you liked it. You can oh, the beacon light is still on. That's a mistake. You can subscribe to the channel if you like this kind of content. Other than that, I wish you all a very nice day, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.